Good afternoon. I'm Shirley Crandall with Crandall and Associates, and I'm here with Tom Culp, and we're here today to have our session on Real Talk. Real Talk is real situations that happen to real people that can be real uncomfortable. Today we're here to talk about natural disasters.
Yes, and we're here to talk about that and basically to prepare for them. As our climate continues to change and more wildfires and hurricanes happen, we wanted to share some tips in order to be prepared in the event that, God forbid, you are caught in one of these natural disasters. When it comes to wildfires, a lot of it has to deal with how to protect the property. Cutting the brush around the building to make sure that nothing catches close to the building and spreads to the building. Could also include trees overhanging the building as well. But basically, for any type of natural disaster, what the experts say is have a plan in place. What are you going to do in the event that a wildfire or a hurricane is coming towards your city or your place of business? Having a plan and making sure to discuss that plan with employees is key. How are you going to communicate with them throughout the entire ordeal? When are you going to let them know, if we're coming into the office, do you have a plan for remote working to make sure that you can still run your business in the event that you can't reach your office? Do you have a plan for your IT to make sure that you can be remote or spin a server up in the cloud in the event that your server at the office goes down? There's a lot of different things that you can do for wildfires in order to prepare for them. And we actually have some really great lists from some of our carriers that we'll be happy to share with you. Just reach out to us. As far as hurricanes goes, I wanted to touch a little bit more on that because it's probably a little bit more probable here in Texas. Again, you want to create a plan, you want to communicate that plan to your employees, and you may also want to encourage your employees to discuss with their families what they would plan to do in the event of a hurricane. And here again, you got to make sure your IT is up to snuff to be able to remotely work, and how to communicate with your employees when you are in a hurricane. Some other things you might want to think about of hurricane is getting wood to panel up or to board up your windows and doors. Of course, here in San Antonio, we don't necessarily see a whole lot of hurricanes, thankfully, but that may change. But let's say you're in Houston. Might it be prudent for you to have a few pieces of cardboard just somewhere in your office to make sure that you can board up your doors and windows in the event that there's a hurricane? Not only that, but do you have a team that might be able to help, prepare the facility in the event of a hurricane? God forbid, making sure to cut power to certain items, or just checking your roof just to make sure everything up there is good. And that's also something you can do now, is to make sure that your roof is up to snuff so that way it's not susceptible to wind damage. So, like I mentioned, just wanted to share a few thoughts with you on that, just to get you thinking about it, because we don't think about on a day-to-day basis with everything going on in our lives. So be prepared, get a plan in place, communicate that plan to your employee, because that's probably something that we need to do ourselves.
Yep. And sandbags.
Oh, sandbags is a good one too.
A lot of rain. Normally with hurricanes comes a lot of rain, so.
Yes, definitely. And that's another thing too with floods, again, have a plan, make sure you communicate it with your employees, and just be prepared. That's all we really wanted to share with you today. We really appreciate you joining us, and be on the next lookout for our next Real Talk segment.